They're not the ones that have to hear the children cry at these funerals. They're not the ones that have to be there to hold and hug the spouses of these people that lost a loved one because they were trying to protect you so you can sleep peacefully at night. We need to stand up and start defending people. Me and AJ were trying. Billy is trying. There are so many more of you guys out there that are trying, but we need more. We need people to start being vocal. Yo, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the It's Needed podcast, where we discuss real issues involving law enforcement in the community. It's your boy Ryan Tillman, founder of Breaking Barriers United, and I'm joined today by light-skinned wonder himself, Mr. O'Nose the Popo. What's up, Brody?
You know, I give you the loud burr, 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 but you know it's early my way, so I know it's early your way.
It is 5:30 where we're at right now.
5:30 in the AM.
Me and
That's
Billy,
how dedicated we are.
bro.
We had the conversation last night.
Oh, bro, don't even get me started. You know, Billy woke up. Me and Billy woke up at 4:30. I've learned one thing about Billy. Billy is not a morning person. Like, you know, when you talk to somebody in the morning, but you just know they're not interested in talking to you.
I feel great. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
But like, you keep talking to them, but they're like, their answer is just like one word because they don't want to talk.
Just close ended.
That was
Billy. You have a good day today? Yes.
Well, that's fun because Billy, you know, shout out to my boy Billy, man. I love you, Billy. Billy gave your boy a ride because my car is in the shop, so Billy picked me up from my house.
Oh, and he had to pick you up. My goodness,
and I'm driving
bro.
him to work afterwards too.
Yeah, he is. So shout out to Billy, bro.
Word of the wise: don't buy luxury cars because they're always in the shop.
They
apparently.
are.
That's what happened when you got a Ferrari, man. You just got to keep it in the
You
shop
got to
all the
replace
time.
that transmission every like 5,000
man, don't
miles.
even get me started with Ferraris, man. People think you're on one news network, and people all of a sudden think that you sold your soul to the devil and just trying to make all this money now.
But what happened? Is that something recent?
I was on Newsmax last night, and so
what is Newsmax?
Newsmax is like Fox, CNN. It's just it's a very conservative news outlet. So I did a short interview last night, and I posted it on IG, and everybody was like, or not everybody, this one person was like, "Oh, this is what it's about now? You making money?" I'm like, "Okay, bro."
It's like the news doesn't pay you to come
Oh
on.
yeah, exactly. They just paid me $1 million to do this 4-minute spot, bro.
Right. A 4 minute? Was it 4 minutes?
Well, the whole thing was 4 minutes, but it wasn't like a 4-minute interview. Like
That's a good segment.
Yeah, they had different clips in between, but either way, I'm like, okay, you guys. So anyways, back to my story about Billy. So as I'm on my way to the studio, I'm talking to Billy, and Billy's just like, one-word answers. I'm like, okay, Billy.
Yeah,
I see you're not a morning person.
I was engaged.
The funniest part though about our drive-in though this morning is like we're listening to the radio, and I heard like it was some random song like you would hear. It was like elevator music.
Little prayer,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take you there in the
that song.
in the midnight hour.
That song. Never heard that song in my life before.
What? Are you serious?
Never heard.
I
that.
couldn't even make out what he was just
Bro.
singing.
My car doesn't have Bluetooth, so I'm either listening to a podcast holding my phone like a loser, or I have what's it called, the radio on. And I also have to hold my phone to listen to podcasts because the auxiliary plug doesn't work either.
You got the cassette that you plug in. It's got like the cord that comes out and plugs into your phone.
Yeah.
I'm behind that, so if anyone feels my pain, I'm with you, man.
So Billy's like singing that song.
I'm not singing that song.
No, he was singing the song. I caught him. And then he's like, "Oh man, sorry, my Bluetooth doesn't work, so I just got radio." I was like, "Bro, you don't gotta justify you singing this song, bro. You do your thing, man. I'm in your car, bro. I'm in your territory right now." So that made my morning. But anyways, it's good to be back, fellas. Today's gonna be a passion episode. I'm feeling a little angry and perturbed this morning over some things, and so we haven't done a passion episode in a while. I know we actually Billy had found some topics for us to talk about, but I think some of those topics are kind of in this topic, but for the most part, I'm a little upset, man. The reason I'm upset is because I went to a funeral on Friday for an officer that was killed in Kern County on July 27th. I think that's my second or third officer funeral I've been to just this year. In my career, I've been to, I would say close to 10 law enforcement officer funerals of officers that have been killed in the line of duty. But anyhow, the one I went to on Friday, what was the date on that? The date on Friday was, it looks like the 6th. And so that officer was killed on July 27th. Since July 27th, there was an officer killed in the line of duty every day until the day of that funeral. Fast forward.
Say that last part one more time. Since when?
Since the 27th, which was when he was killed, there has been an officer that has been killed every single day in the line of duty up until the 7th, which is when the officer from Chicago was killed. So I looked up on the Officer Down Memorial app, I saw that officer that was killed in Kern County on the 27th. After him, there's been another 11 officers that have been killed. And the day I checked the Officer Down Memorial page was the day that she was killed, and there was 11 officers. So that tells me that there was 11 officers essentially killed in 11 days.
Jeez.
The reason I'm so pissed off is because, we have mainstream politicians. We have people that lead these activist group that get so mad about, law enforcement or supposed law enforcement misconduct. And I say supposed specifically because a lot of the stuff that they are mad about is rightfully justified by the officers. But yet they cause all of this drama, they cause all this chaos for something that was actually justified, but nobody stands up. None of these people are going to the funerals of these officers that die in the line of duty. Nobody is comforting the wives or the husbands. Nobody's comforting the parents for these officers that laid their life on the line in the name of protecting and serving. Nobody's standing up for them. And I made a post the other day. I said, when are we going to defend the people that defend us? And I say us because when I go home and when I'm not working, I am a civilian just like you are. When I take my badge and my gun off, I'm a civilian just like you. When I go out with my family, I'm a civilian just like you. And there are police officers out there that are protecting me and my family just like you. And when I say you, I'm talking about members of the public, civilians. And so when are we going to defend those that defend us? And it pisses me off that you have all these freaking social warrior activists, these social activists that go out there, they make all this money. And somebody has the audacity last night to say that because they saw me on a news outlet that now I'm doing it for the money, which they have no clue of who I am or what I do. You have the audacity of me to say that. You have the audacity to say that I'm making money because you see me on a news network, but yet you're not saying anything about and I'm just going to call them out, the Sean Kings out there that are freaking living in baller houses now because they made money off of the name of somebody that was killed by a police officer, which majority of those cases were justified. But you made a name just because the guy that died at the hand of the police officer was a black man and the person that shot him was a white man.
They don't understand that we are getting played, and I won't even say we because I'm beyond like rocking with people like that, but like a majority of people are getting played by like individuals like that. Like they find something that you're quasi like passionate about, and then they just continue to pull on your heartstrings and pull on your heartstrings and pull on your heartstrings. They manipulate the narrative. They control the direction in which the stories go. That way they get you so like emotionally involved in what's not even going on now because they've manipulated it so much that you're like, we got to do something about this. And before you know it, you down there acting a fool. You downtown, you marching, you posting stuff. So yesterday, I was sitting on a porch in full uniform, parked my cruiser directly in front of this house, sitting in full uniform on this porch playing with, just talking back and forth with like two kids, and their mom and dad were outside. And I know the dad from high school. So I'm talking to my buddy I went to high school with. His two kids are out there. We're like tossing the ball back and forth, and his wife keeps coming out talking to us and whatnot. And, we just out there like chopping it up. I ain't talked to him in, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 weeks. And the neighbor pulls up and like kind of like aggressively like parks in front of my car. I parked on the street, like aggressively parks in front of my cruiser. Now, just for the story purposes, I'll give you all the details. The family that I'm talking to is a black family. The female that pulled in front of my car is like this early 20-year-old white girl. So she pulls in and she gets out and she's like kind of like staring, like kind of confused and like kind of like snobby and angry. And she walks up to her patio and I like wave at her like, hey, how you doing? And she like doesn't say anything, and then like she's fumbling like to get her keys, like she's like kind of like overwhelmed now, right? Because I said hi.
Yeah.
So she goes in her house, and when she like goes in her house, I like look to where she was, and she's got this huge sign on her patio that says "Abolish the police." It don't say defund. It don't say, it says "Abolish the police." So I look at my buddy. I was like, dang, that's how she feel. And he's like, man, she don't know what she talking about. Like, she be over here trying to badmouth the police, and we be telling her all the time, like, y'all cool, but she just wants to do what's cool. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if she come over here in like 5 minutes talking to you because you over here talking to us.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, like that's like a prime example right there. Like, granted, I don't know her full story, but judging from the neighbor who knows her semi well, right? Like they talk on a daily basis, like, you jumping on these trends, like, and not only are you jumping on these trends, but these dangerous trends that are costing people their lives. They're costing people their brothers. They're costing people their sisters, their mothers, their fathers, their uncles, their nephews, their nieces, all for the sake of you being woke. Are you standing up for something that isn't even like that? And we talk about Sean King. I don't want to say often on this podcast, but he gets brought up every now and then. But like he's a prime example. Like, you look at this individual, and just to give you a quick snapshot of how these people work. I think like 2 episodes ago, I brought up the fact that he got exposed for buying $1 million house, like $1 million lake house, right? Like a story in the UK did it. The New York Post did a story on it. I mean, the story was everywhere, right? So what does he do? He flips the script and he goes, oh my goodness, I'm a victim. I can't leave my house. My family's scared. My wife bought this house. She worked so hard for this. We don't know what we're going to do. How are we going to survive? I can't believe my face is all over the internet. Now, keep in mind, this is the same individual that puts the police officers' information out there and has protesters at their front door and puts all sorts of other stuff out there to where officers who are protecting the peace cannot live peacefully, okay? So he plays the victim. He plays the victim. You know what he posted on his Instagram last week? A GoFundMe to help his family relocate.
Wow.
Now we talking about somebody that just bought $1 million house.
Sell the house and go and reload. Man, hold on, bro. Oh,
we talking about somebody that just sold $1 million or just bought $1 million house. Now they created this narrative of, I'm the victim. Everyone listen to what I'm saying here. I'm the victim. Not this is karma, not I'm being exposed, not what goes around comes around, but I'm the victim. And since I'm the victim, you should financially donate to me. And despite the fact that I could afford $1 million house.
And sadly, people are going to donate to him and give him money.
Because he put, not only did he put a link to a GoFundMe, he put a Venmo account for his wife. And then he put his Zelle account on there. Basically, so whatever way you can send me money, send me money, because I cannot walk out the house and people are trying to kill me and blah, blah, blah. It's just like
bro, pull the insurance bucket out, bro, because I'm getting even more amped up right now. I'm going to play a sound clip. I'm going to play a sound clip of something. This actually went out there too. Again, this is another activist. Been very vocal about, standing up against police. This came out a couple of days ago, and so I'm just going to play the sound clip, and we're going to talk about this one too.
That off. You can't get that off. I'm going to make sure I have security because I know I have had attempts on my life, and I have too much work to do. There are too many people that need help right now for me to allow that. So if I end up spending $200,000, if I spend $10 more on it, you know what? I get to be here to do the work. So suck it up, and defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police and put that money into social safety nets. I won't let.
So in the same breath, she went on to talk about how she will spend $200,000 for security because there have been threats against her life, but yet we need to defund the police because it needs to happen in the name of social justice. And so the thing that pisses me off, not just with her, with Sean King, there's a video going viral right now of officers that are seen punching a guy up against a fence. It's going viral. Without knowing all the context to it, the one thing we do know that's true is these officers were doing an investigation for a narcotic transaction. They try to go detain this guy. He is resisting arrest. So one of the officers starts to punch him a couple times up against the fence. It looks like they're trying to get his hands behind his back. And at the end of the stop, they remove a firearm from him. A firearm that he was not supposed to have, a firearm that was unregistered, which is called a ghost gun, which there are more ghost guns hitting our street than ever before. And the crazy thing is the Chicago officer that was killed 3 nights ago, the gun that she was killed by was a stolen gun or a ghost gun. And so when you have officers trying to do their job for the sake of their own safety, for the sake of the safety of their community, we have these social activists that will post that video, allow it to go viral for in their eyes unjustified reasons, but nobody's making a fuss about these people that are capitalizing on you as a victim, because I guarantee you they won't say anything to you. They don't know who you are, but the moment you become shot or killed, especially at the hands of police for not doing something you were supposed to be doing, they will be at your family's house trying to get as much fame off of your name than anybody else, simply because they look at you as dollar bill signs. And so why I'm so fired up right now is because all these people that are social warrior activists, they're not showing up to the funerals. They're not standing up. If you want to
they're doing it for the camera time.
Exactly. They're doing it for the camera time.
Yep.
What happened to just doing things for the right reasons? I don't mind you standing up for what you believe to be police brutality, but if you're going to stand up for what you believe to be police brutality, why don't you stand up for citizen brutality, for brutality against cops? Stand up for it all. Stand up for it all. Stand up against violence in general. Why are you just standing up for the violence that is going to sell newspapers?
Or even if that's your thing, right? Like, say like your passion and like your drive is to expose police brutality and nothing else. I don't have a problem with that. But don't create false narratives and don't create false police brutalities, and don't go out of your way to manipulate things to make it look like something that fits your agenda, because then you lose sight of what your true quote unquote passion is. Because now you're telling me and the rest of the world your passion is self-gain. Your passion is divisiveness. Like, your passion is splitting up individuals for whatever reason, right? Like, whether it's financial gain, whether it's social media clout, like, your passion is no longer exposing police brutality. Your passion is dividing people.
Yep.
When you begin to make up things, and when you begin to edit videos and crop pictures, or even post a picture and create your own narrative in which didn't even happen, your passion is no longer exposing law enforcement. Your passion is being divisive and being evil in nature. And I said it, I don't know, 4 or 5 podcasts ago, and this is how I sleep at night. Hell is real. Hell is real. And I'm not saying that you're going to go to hell for that, but what I'm saying is you need to understand what you're doing, and you need to stop playing with this thought of, oh, it's a trend, or, ooh, I'm gaining attention and I'm gaining fame and I got a little money in my pocket, because all of that's great right now, but eventually you're going to have to answer for those actions in which you're doing now. And I don't want you to get there and it be too late. And I'm not just saying it to say it. Like, I legitimately don't want you to get there and it be too late. Absolutely. They roll that sheet of paper out. Well, you got all this to answer to. You sitting there like, oh, I got 10,000 views off of that one, and then this video went viral, so I did another one, and I know some people got shot out of that and robbed, but I got more followers and blah blah blah. It's just like,
and here's the thing: is like, when these videos come out from these witnesses or bystanders, these people are so quick to post these videos with absolutely no context. 5 days later, it comes out that the officers were justified, and you hear crickets from the same person.
Yeah, cricket. And most of the time, they are also, and I have to laugh, and I feel like I have a right to laugh in this situation because I've been a victim of this multiple times. But like, most of the time, the person recording don't know what happened.
No,
like, they end up creating their own narrative, right? Yes. Like, these officers came in this store and just beat him up for no reason. It's just like, what? Like, this dude got a murder warrant. I tried to grab him. He punched me in the face. Like, what you talking about? Like, we start beating him up for no reason. We ain't even beating him up. We trying to put his hands behind his back. And it's just like that chaos and what's the word I'm looking for? Like, dictation behind recording the video just adds fuel to the fire and gives these false social justice warriors the ammunition they need to go viral and to continue to pad their pockets. And it's really frustrating for me because, like, there are a lot of good people who think that they're woke, but really they are just following an evil person that has no idea what they're talking about, or has every idea what they're talking about. They just like leading sheep. And that's what's frustrating to me, because I've had plenty of conversations with people who are frustrated and angry with police. And then by the end of that conversation, they're like, you know what? I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to have had those conversations, but it just shows me how easily people could be led astray, because these conversations start borderline arguments. Like, people are yelling at me, and the conversations will start because I'm driving on the street and somebody gives me the middle finger, and I'm like, whoa, hold on, let me do it. You turn real quick, and I got out the car and I'm like, hey, do you know me?
Yeah.
Don't talk to me. Well, that's fine, but I just wanted to make sure that you didn't mistake me for somebody else, because when I just drove down the street, you gave me the middle finger. So allow me to introduce myself. My name is Officer Johnson. I've worked down here for X amount of years. Oh, by the way, the house that you flipped me in front of, that's Miss Tina's house. She got 10 kids that I mentor, and we're giving them school supplies today. And none of that will hit social media because that's not the place for it. But I just thought you should know who you're flipping off. And by the end of that conversation, they're like, well, I'm sorry.
Bro.
But it just goes to show you that when people are led astray, like, and they get passionate about it, like, that's happening. That is happening at an all-time high right now. At an all-time high.
Well, and so to add on to that, I made a post the other day, the same post I made about the Chicago officer that was killed. And in that post, I said, we have to stop defending these wrongdoers. And so somebody felt like they wanted to question who I was talking about when I say we're defending wrongdoers. And the way we are defending wrongdoers is when we lessen crimes, when we let people out of jail, when we say, you know what, we know that he's a felon and we know that he had a firearm, but yet we need to, give him a little bit more help as opposed to give him more punishment. There's a person that's very close to me, and we still haven't spoken since recently, because he differs from how I view punishment or punitive approaches to our justice system. But if I'm being honest, there's a place for punishment. From a biblical standpoint, there is a place for punishment. God is as much righteous as he is also judge. And sometimes we like to forget those two things. As a dad, I love my kids equally, but I will still punish my kids equally.
Yeah.
If my son does something and I allow him to continue to do it over and over and over again, will he ever learn to do things the right way without some type of correction? And sometimes that correction comes in way of punishment. And so punishment was put in place for a good reason, because it's to prevent you, it's to steer you away from doing or making the same mistakes over and over again. When we don't punish the people that are out there terrorizing our communities, what else do you think is going to happen? So when I say we are defending these wrongdoers, I'm saying we are defending them simply because we are allowing them to go out there, commit crimes, and terrorize their communities and get the least amount of punishment possible. So therefore they can exit the prison system, they can exit the jail system within a couple weeks, a couple months, and be right back out to doing it again. It doesn't mean that I'm against rehabilitation. I'm all about rehabilitation. I think that a lot of these people that are committing crimes have been victimized in their own way, and they're, continuing to go down that revolving door, the historical history of their family, and perpetuating the family history and doing these crimes. So I think a lot of these people have been victims themselves, but it still doesn't rid the fact that they shouldn't be punished in their own way, because they're terrorizing the communities that we are all living in. And so that's what's so upsetting, is that when I say we're defending wrongdoers, we are making it so easy for these people to go out there and commit crimes without any punishment comes from them. I mean, when I did that interview last night on Newsmax, they were showing me a video of a protest where you have Antifa protesters out there that are pepper spraying Christians at a Christian rally. They're pepper spraying the pastors. They're throwing stuff at them. They're hitting them. Police don't intervene. They ask me a question, why don't I think police intervene? The reason the police probably didn't intervene is because the police are danged if they do, they're danged if they don't right now. And in certain cities across our country, we have politicians that will not back the local police officers. And so if you're not going to back them, how do you expect them to go out there on the front lines and not only put their lives on the line from a bullet, but also put their lives on the line because they know that they're not going to have the backing if they decide to use force to protect the communities that they serve? That's why I'm pissed off right now. I'm pissed off because we need to start standing up against these people, these politicians that are doing wrong. We need to start boycotting these celebrities that want to call out all this crookedness within law enforcement, but have no idea of the gist of what police brutality is. We need to start standing up and defending the people that defend us. And that's why I say I'm pissed off right now, because they're not the ones that have to hear the children cry at these funerals. They're not the ones that have to be there to hold and hug the spouses of these people that lost a loved one because they were trying to protect you so you can sleep peacefully at night. We need to stand up and start defending people. Me and AJ, we're trying. Billy is trying. There are so many more of you guys out there that are trying, but we need more. We need people to start being vocal. We cannot have the vocal minority suppress the minority people that are silent. That didn't make sense. I know
exactly what you're saying. Yeah, we cannot
have the vocal majority or vocal minority suppress the vocal majority or the silent majority. That's what I meant to say.
Yep.
We have this silent majority, but the silent majority needs to step up and start to suppress the vocal minority. We need to start drawing that line, because I know there's more good than bad out right now. But I promise you guys, I see it. AJ sees it. Billy knows this. There are more people that are good than there are bad. But right now, we have this vocal minority right now that is so vocal that it makes us believe that everything out there in life right now is bad, when we know that's not true. But the only way that's going to change is when the vocal majority steps up and starts to defend the people that defend us.
So I want to talk to every law enforcement officer right now, because we've always had a difficult job, and it's no secret that these times are even more difficult than normal, and probably more difficult than we've ever had in this profession. And a lot of people are looking for solutions, and I wish I could give you a 100% guaranteed executable plan that you could go to your chief with, or you could go to your mayor with, or city council or governor or whatever. But every situation is different. So what I do want to leave you or give you is something that will at least make this, I don't want to use the word enjoyable, but less stressful. You need to bring a positive outlook, or at least a positive energy, into your precinct or into your police department, because right now a majority of officers are very just battered and beaten and worn down. So I'll tell you what I'm doing, right? So when I first got back to work, and I've talked about this before, I heard a lot of, AJ, just stay off, don't come back. Everyone hates us. And since I had a different lens to look through, because I wasn't at work during that very difficult time, it was very easy for me to go out into the community and see the overwhelming majority of people who support us, the positivity, the waves, the people who are trying to give us our food for free, the people who are honking and, saying, I support you, opposed to focusing on the very small amount of people who flip me off, or the abolish the police signs and whatnot. So what really caught me off guard, though, is not that, it was the morale that I seen throughout the division of police. So what I decided to do was I decided to go, hey, we need to cook out once a week. The whole precinct, we need to get together. If you're on a call, come back. The hot dogs and burgers will be going, but we're going to have a time to where it's just us. And if you want to vent about something going on, if you want to vent about the mayor, if you want to vent about the chief, if you want to vent about your lieutenant, whatever, this is the safe place for that. But we need to understand that this is our place. We're going to have positive vibes. I'm going to play some music from my phone. We could just relax. We could talk. We don't even have to talk about work. We could talk about your dog. We could talk about your kid. Oh, he learned how to ride a bike show us a video. We all want to see the video, right? Oh, you guys like smoking cigars? We need a cigar night. After work, let's just all hang out by the trucks and smoke some cigars, right? You guys want to go to the bar afterwards? Let's go to the bar afterwards. You guys want to have Bible study before or after work, or maybe during if the sergeant's cool with it? These are the things that I'm talking about. We're in the middle of a storm. There's no secret about that. We've been in this storm for every bit of a year. We've been in the thick of this storm for every bit of a year. What I will say about this storm is we're approaching the end. We're approaching the end of the storm. And I know some of you are like, you keep saying this. Look, I'm going to just put it like this. The 13th largest city in the U.S. just gave their police officers a 14% raise in the midst of defund and abolish the police. Not only did they give them a 14% raise, but they gave them 2 extra days off, 2 extra holidays. Like, politicians are beginning to post on social media and say, oh, we have phenomenal police departments. And I know what you may be thinking. Well, they don't believe it. I'm sure they don't. The same way they didn't believe that all police officers were racist when they were posting that. They're going to do what the people want them. An overwhelming majority of politicians will do what they believe the people want them to do.
Yep.
You know, whether it's goes against their morals or goes against what they truly believe in, they don't care. They're trying to put themselves in a position to go to the next level. So I say that to say this: the end of the storm is fast approaching. Grit down. We're going to get through it. We're going to get through it together. But while we're in this storm, we might as well make the best of it.
Yep.
We might as well make the best of it. There are two type of people in this world. There are the people who sit inside and look outside at the rain and go, today sucks. And then there are the crazy people who take their shirt off and just go run out in the rain and they play and they have a good time. That's who we need to be right now.
Yep.
We need to be. It's raining. There ain't nothing we could do about it. You can't avoid the storm. Listen, you got me going. A Rolls Royce Phantom, we're talking about a $500,000 car, comes with an umbrella built into the door. You know what that tells you? No matter how good life is going, you going to run into the storm. You might as well be prepared. So what's your umbrella? What is your umbrella? Are you just sitting there getting rained on being mopey? And I hate to be that blunt and like that maybe rude about it, but like that's the reality of it. And when I got to work and I just seen all of my coworkers, all the people that I care about were just negative. And we all know what that leads to, right? Like our suicide rate is at an all-time high for a reason. Our mental health is just damaged for a reason, right? Like we can't let the negativity of the world get into us and then control us mentally. Like we have to have that positive barrier wrapped around us, wrapped around our mind, wrapped around our soul, wrapped around our circles, wrapped around our friends, wrapped around our coworkers, the precincts, our supervisors, the department as a whole, our communities, like you name it. But something has to be that positive barrier. Yep. So when you go to work today, when you go to work tomorrow and you hear somebody talking negative, or you see somebody with their head down because the mayor doesn't support us, or because we didn't get the raise, or because they're taking away our health care, or because, you know, somebody got hurt in the line of duty, what I need you to do is be that spark of positivity. I need you to come up with an idea to get all of your coworkers together, or a majority of your coworkers together, and create a positive atmosphere. And I just gave you 4 ideas. Yep. I gave you 4 ideas. Fire the grill up. If you don't got a grill, you can go to Walmart and get a grill for $50.
Yep.
Say, hey, who wants to throw it on this grill? $5 each. Your guys like drinking bourbon, or your guys and girls like drinking bourbon and smoking cigars? Do it after work one day. Say, hey, drinks in my place, and we can spark up some cigars. Have a cigar day. If I ain't telling you to go get your policy or nothing, but have a cigar day. Have a Bible study before and after, like whatever it is, CrossFit, whatever. But just create an environment that doesn't allow the negativity of the world to overflow into your precinct, and then watch the change. That's the exciting part, is because I'm starting to see it now. I'm starting to see officers with like a little bit more optimistic views and a little bit more positivity and a little bit more energy and pep in their step. And that's what we need. Yep. That's what we need. Like we can't help the fact that there are evil people in this world. We can't, but What we do know is that no weapon formed shall prosper.
Yep.
But it's up to you. Like you got to fight.
Amen.
You got to fight. You can't just lay there and be like, oh, no weapon formed shall prosper. Pick that sword up and get to swinging.
Amen. So AJ just gave you guys a whole bunch of things that you guys can do from a positive standpoint, especially as police officers, of what you guys can do to continue to have that good outlook and the positive outlook on life. What I want to do now is I want to say, how do you stand up against these negative people? You know, as police officers, I know how we are. Majority of us are. We're type A personalities. We don't do things for pats on the back. We don't do things so everybody can go out there and blast and posterize what we did, the money we gave to that homeless person, or, changing an old lady's tire on the side of the road. We don't do things for that. But what we need to start doing is we need to start defending ourselves and standing up for what's right. We have to. We can't be silent anymore, because we are also a part of that silent majority. And I say that in the most, sincere way, is like, I know you guys feel like you're already having to do so much at work, but we got to start standing up. We got to call out what's right. We got to call out what's wrong. In order to be able to call the wrongdoing out of these social warrior activists, we got to be able to step up and say what we do wrong as a profession, because that is showing like, look, there is accountability. We are able to hold each other accountable. And when people can trust that, when they can trust and know like, hey, they will call out their own bad, then they will also look at us as being credible to call out those people that are like your Sean Kings, like this lady who says she needs a $200,000 security team because her life is in danger. That's how people will take us serious even that much more, because they know we got our own house in order. And so we got to start being the vocal majority. We have to. We have to. I'm tired of just sitting on the sidelines and just looking at people batter us over and over and over again without any type of credibility at all. The only thing that makes them credible is the amount of followers they have on their profile. Outside of that, I mean, I can go sit down with each and every one of them, and I guarantee you if we had a debate right now, they would not be able to beat me in a debate, at least when it comes to law enforcement. Because I know what I do. I know why I signed up to do. I know why the men and women that signed up to do this job, I know why you guys did what you do. And even the ones that make mistakes, even the officers in this job that make mistakes, when they make their mistakes, it's not the mistakes that they made are not for the reasons that everybody believes. Everybody believes that they're racist. Everybody believes that these officers have a chip on their shoulder and they decide to go out there and be a bully. But I know that a majority of police officers are not racist. I know that a majority of police officers are not bullies. I know a majority of police officers are doing things for the right reasons. And sometimes when we do that, we do make mistakes. But it's okay. As long as we own up to those mistakes, we will back you. And that's what the community needs to know. They need to stop being led astray by all these people that say that we are out there being racist and animals and things like that just for the sake of getting another follower, because they know that follower is going to get them $1 million house lakeside. We need to be able to stand up, do what's right for the right reasons, and call out those wrongdoers. We need to stop defending the wrongdoers. Like I said, go vote. Go vote. Get involved in your politics. Go out there and change. If you feel like you might be a decent politician, well, go out there and start politicking. It's funny. It always baffles me because, and I'm guilty of it too, where we say I hate politics. I hate politics. Even at work, promotion season comes up and we're like, oh man, I can't stand the politics. But you know what? I can sit on the sideline all day and say I hate politics, or I can get involved in the politics and be that change. And so I encourage you, go out there. If you don't like your local politicians, get involved. We have a race coming up in California for a recall of our governor. I'm not telling you one way or another to recall him. I know what I'm voting to do.
I'm telling you to recall him.
Yeah. I'm with Billy. I know what I want to do. But that's for if you decide that you want to recall him, know why you want to recall him. If you decide that you want to keep him in the office, know why you want to keep him in office. Don't just say, you know what, I'm going to keep him in office just because he's a Democrat. No, understand, like at least know what he's doing. So that way, if you have something to fight for to keep him in office. And if you want to get him out of office, know why you want him out of office. I know why I've made my choice, but it's because I've gone out there. I've done the extra research I need to do. I know what he's not doing for me and my family. Therefore, I know why I want to make the decision that I'm going to make. So one way or another, whether you decide to do something, you decide not to do something, at least know why you're doing it. Right now, we have a ton of people that have this sheep mentality that just decide to be lazy. And so what that person said sounds good, so I'm going to go with whatever they say, when in all actuality, that person has just led you astray because everything they just told you was false. So go out there, do the research, stop doing things just because it's easy. We need to stop being a lazy society and go out there and put the work in that we need to do so that way we can get the results that we want to see. Somebody asked me a question yesterday and said, hey, you know what? How do you go out there and encourage people to be the change that they want to see? And I said, you know what? We have to get away from this global view of things and we got to get down to an individual view of things. When you look at it from a global perspective, it seems like, there's so much going on. There's so much against me. Woe is me. And why even start? Because I'm not going to even I'm not going to make any progress. But when you get away from that global viewpoint and you focus on you focus on the individual and you do one thing at a time, take it one step at a time. Same way you eat an elephant one bite at a time. When you do things that way, all those individual steps that you take will slowly start to impact the global view of things. And so you need to refocus on you, refocus on what you can do so that way we can change all this negativity that we're seeing in society. So I encourage you, AJ's giving you a lot of tips today. I'm imploring you to go out there, focus on you, focus on what you can do, focus on the change that you can bring to the table. Because if every single one of our listeners just focused on themselves and doing what they had to do, doing their part, that would make waves that this whole world would be able to hear and see. If you would just pass this podcast along or, do whatever you need to do in order to spread good information and positivity, that's how you're going to start to suppress the voice of these vocal minorities right now. So go ahead, AJ, and then I'm going to end on one note.
And ask yourself like what your circle looks like right now as well. Something else that helped me, aside from being off work for that year, that very violent and bad year for our profession, was my circle. And I have friends that are in this circle that are from pretty much every profession, like professors at universities, of course, police officers. I have a firefighter. I have like someone that sells insurance, a pastor, like you name it. Like there's all sorts of different walks of life, race, religion. But something that's very important for that circle to maintain is accountability, right? Like this circle can't just be you're doing great or making excuses for you type of people. They have to be ones that hold you accountable, and that accountability might hurt at times because it might not be what you want to hear, but it might be what you need to hear, and you need to know the difference. And something else that circle should be is positive. And I know I'm throwing this word around a lot during this podcast, but something I want you to realize, is something I need you to realize, is there's power in positivity. And I'm not just saying that to seem like this holistic, whatever type of guy, but I've seen it. I've seen it time and time and time again. Like, it's no secret. Like, I've been through a lot in my life, right? Like, I've watched my dad sexually assault my mother like multiple times. He was physically abusive. I mean, he would beat us like to the point where we would bleed. He would make us get in the tub. The water would soak into our skin, soften our skin up. Then he would beat us some more, right? Like, he was addicted to crack cocaine. I lived in a drug house. I was almost homeless, right? Like, and I say that to say that I met a college professor 6 or 7 years ago, and afterwards he was like, would you mind like grabbing dinner with me? And during our dinner discussions, he kind of sat back and he's like, you have a very interesting outlook on life. For you to have been through so many traumatic events in your life, AJ, like, you should be scarred. Like, you should be like so negative, and you should be so spiteful towards the world, and you should probably be on like some sort of medication, and like you should have like PTSD, and you should probably have like legit mental health issues, but you don't. And I'm not sure why. And this is a professor at a very well off university, and he's like, I just don't understand like how you are who you are. And when he said that, I'd never thought about it, right? Like I knew I went through a lot. So I'm like, well, let me go home and break this down and like put some more thought into it. And it ultimately came down to like, I always have a positive outlook on things, right? Like, okay, like, so what? He beat me and like threw me through a wall and he would beat us every day. Like, at least I'm alive.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so what? I was almost homeless. I wasn't.
Yeah.
So what? We got kicked out of the house, where there was drug activity. I had a roof over my head. I have clothes on my back. And it's like, that outlook is what saved me.
That's good.
Not only physically, but mentally. So when I talk about there being power and positivity, I want you to I really want that to resonate with you, because I'm telling you right now, like, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. One, if it wasn't for my Savior in Jesus Christ, but two, if it wasn't for having that optimistic and positive outlook, and it's contagious.
Yep.
So when I talk about your circle, let me go back to this just really quick. When I talk about your circle, your group of friends, the ones you confine in, the ones who you go to when you're in the thick of your storm, what's their outlook on everything? Like what's their overwhelming outlook on life in general? If it's negative, then you might have to consider who's in your circle, or you might have to consider doing something to change the atmosphere of your circle.
That's great.
And that will help you out just that so much. And what I'm seeing is cops talk to cops. That's no secret. It's been like that for years, right? Like cops hang out with cops. They end up losing the friends that they grew up with, and their circle becomes nothing but police officers. I had to remove myself from 2 different group chats that are nothing but police officers that I work with, because it was so negative. I would wake up, open my phone, and all of a sudden negativity is being pumped in to my life. And I'm like, whoa, I just woke up. Like, can we chill with this? Like, can I have a cup of coffee first? I had to remove myself from that. I had to protect my mental space. So what I need you to do is also, when you look at your circle, is to say, hey, are these all cops? And if they are, you need to go out and make some friends that ain't police officers. You absolutely need to go out and make some friends that ain't police officers, because what that's going to do is also let you know that not everyone hates the police.
Yep. Exactly.
You have a friend that's not a police officer.
That's good.
They clearly don't, right? And then that friend is going to introduce you to somebody else that's not a police officer. And before you know it, you'll have this spider web effect of social ties of people who are not police officers that either support you or indifferent. And you can have these conversations, and it'll just help out so much. And I know we're dropping a lot on you during this podcast, but like, we're clearly both passionate about it because we see it. We live it. This is our profession. And it's also no secret that we took this job for the right reasons, right? Like, we want to bring positive change towards our profession, and we get a lot of pushback from our own because of the way in which we do it. But we care about you. We care about you as a law enforcement officer, which is why we're having this conversation, which is why we're going back and forth right now, and which is why we're pouring so many gems after gems after gems and nuggets for you to pick up and run with, because we want you to be successful, not only in your profession, but in your personal life as well.
Amen. That's good stuff, eh? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna end on 2 different notes. So I'm gonna say a prayer, because that's the way I get out of everything. That's the way I find comfort and peace in everything, is through prayer. And instead of doing a one has to go today, we're gonna actually end on a somber note. So I need to do that just because I need to make an impact. And sometimes the most valuable way or most powerful way to change a person's mindset on things, or to change their perception, is by leaving a lasting impact. And so I'm going to do one last thing for you guys. So let's pray real quick. Dear Heavenly Father, I come before you, and I just ask that as we just go back and start our days today, I ask that you would just be with everybody that's in this world right now, everybody that's in our country, and just give us this peace, Lord, that surpasses all understanding. But more importantly, I pray for courage. I pray for courage to stand up against those that are trying to come against us. I pray for courage against those that are trying to defeat us with their words or their actions. I pray for courage against those that are going to try to harm us in our day job if you're a police officer. I just pray for bravery. I pray for strength. But I also ask, Lord, that I pray for clarity, that you would give every single one of us clarity that we need to understand why we do what we do and how we do what we do, and give us that motivation, give us that sense of restoration to remind us why we signed up to do this job in the first place. And if you're somebody that's not in this job but tunes into this podcast just to get a different outlook, I pray for you specifically. I pray that you would find the answers in what you need from this podcast, that you would find a sense of clarity for what this profession is about. And I also pray for your courage to go out there and spread what's true and what's real about law enforcement, that you would be emboldened to speak up and stand up against those that are just trying to bring people down and divide people. And so we know that the devil will not win. We know that you are powerful. You are the Almighty. And so we put our faith and trust in you, Lord Jesus. And so I ask that if there's anybody out in that right now that's struggling with a relationship with you, that I would ask that you would pour into them and allow them to answer that call on their life, Lord, to accept you as their Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So that way we can all move forward together as brothers and sisters, and we can stop the enemy in his track and move forward in a positive manner. So we love you and thank you for your son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. All right. So I played this a few months back on this podcast, and I'm going to play it again because it still resonates with me. And every spouse, every child that has lost a mom or a dad in the line of duty, there's probably a same or similar sentiment that was heard on this recording. So we're going to end on this note. Guys, we appreciate you. I love you so much. If you guys like this podcast, please give us a 5-star rating, 5-star review. And those reviews are not to just pump me and AJ and Billy's heads up. No, those reviews help us improve this podcast, but those reviews also help attract those that are searching for a podcast that they can get answers from. I've heard that so many times where people say, man, I was looking for something that I can get answers about law enforcement. And so when you leave a good review, when you leave a good rating for us, it helps draw those in that need to hear this message. And so that's why we like that 5-star rating and 5-star review, because it's going to help attract those that need to be attracted. So we love you guys. We'll see you next week. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and play this video.
He gave of himself while serving his community with courage and valor. The men and women of the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department are forever grateful and proud to have served with Sergeant Baca and will never forget his ultimate sacrifice. All units, break for a moment of silence.
My dad was a deputy sheriff for 17 years, and he protected people he didn't even know, just like he protected me, my baby sister, mom, and all our family. He taught me to be brave, kind, and always take care of my family. On May 31st, my dad showed up to work, a job he loved. He was brave, kind, and took care of his partners. Dad, I'll remember the lessons you taught me and share them with my sister. I love you forever and will miss you every day.
Dominic, may you rest in peace knowing your strength lives on in your wife. Your legacy will be carried on through your daughters, who will know their father is a hero, and your honor will continue with all of us. Sergeant Dominic Baca, you are clear to go EOW and rest in paradise. We have the watch from here.